Everyone, welcome back to my channel, and today I'm doing a book review of The Last Dreamwalker by Rita Woods. Sorry for the delay in filming. I wanted to do this video about 2 weeks ago, but I got really sick, and yesterday was really the first day that I felt like okay back on my feet. I still have a cough, but the major parts of this sickness is gone. So if not for that, I would have had this video out a while ago, but better late than never. It's a book I bought 1 or 2 years ago, and I'm just now getting around to it, but it was so good. This young woman named Layla, she's in her mid-20s, and her mother just passed away. Now, she and her mother never really got along, but she's sad nonetheless. And she has this ability that none of her family really believe in, that she's a dream walker. Her dreams are very, very vivid, and she'll wake up from them having slept walked or having remembered something that happened years ago that nobody would believe she could remember. All kinds of stuff like that. And of course, she had struggles with her mom. They were always arguing, not always about her dream walking ability, but just they never were on the same page and they never got along. She has 2 brothers, Will and Evan, who are older than her, and she knows the impression that she leaves to them as kind of like the unstable little sister. Because the dreams have become somewhat of a problem when they're like, they're just dreams, leave us alone. Stop talking about the dreams. At the funeral and like the reception afterwards, these 2 older women show up, and Layla realizes that they are her aunts, her mom's sisters, who she hasn't seen since she was like a little girl. And that's really where the story starts. These 2 aunts tell Layla that she has inherited part of a small island off of the South Carolina coast. And this really shocks her because she knew nothing about her mom's life, and she knew nothing about owning part of an island until the aunts handed her the deed and the proof that she owns half an island. I should say that from now on forward in the video, there are going to be spoilers. So if you want to read this book, I would maybe stop watching now, but that's just a warning. The other half of the island is owned by her cousin Charlotte, who she didn't know existed and has never met before this point. Visit her aunts. There were sound effects. I know this wasn't really the point of the book, but the entire time I was reading, when I was reading the descriptions of South Carolina, it made me want to live there. I was like, oh my God, this is so beautiful. And I found effects to the audiobook, which was so cool, and I was like, oh, we're back in South Carolina. I absolutely love it. One critique I will have of the book, not necessarily the book, but just part of the plot. So she has these 2 brothers, Will and Evan. Evan didn't seem to really be in the story at all. There was no, there was a few cell phone conversations and stuff like that, but nothing significant to the plot. And I felt like the book could have done with her just having her brother Will, because her brother Will was the one that she kind of bounced ideas off of and had meaningful conversations with, and he was the one that got integrated into the plot later on. But virtually nothing happened with her brother Evan, besides a few phone calls where he was like telling her off. Like, there was no character development, no nothing. And I was just like, what in the world is, like, why is he even part of the story? Again, not a point of the story, but just one of the small, very small critiques that I had with this book. I was very pleased when Layla found the two aunts and they really accepted her and taught her about the dream walking. They're like, you're not crazy. This is an actual ability and it runs in the family. Just so satisfying to see Layla get that, to get that assurance from somebody that knew what she was going through. What I really enjoyed later in the book was when, well, not enjoy, because this was like a bad part to the whole situation, but when Will started having dreams that would actualize in real life, and he would see the consequences of the dreams in the waking world, it was really, even though it was scary, and it was supposed to be scary because Charlotte had started threatening them, it was also very vindicating for Layla to be like, yes, see, now you believe me. Thank God you believe me. Like, I mean, her family shouldn't have been threatened, but it was very nice, not only for someone else to believe her, but for someone else to share that ability, because the aunts didn't have that ability. They knew it ran in the family, but they had never been able to dream walk themselves. I also wonder if anybody else had this experience of when we were having the short chapters from Gemma, the slave from over 100 years ago, who was a slave on Scotia Island and had worked, I think it was the rice fields. Towards the end of her chapters, there was a scene where we find out that her master was her father. And the gasp that I gasped when I read that was just sickening. And if we think about the history, at least the American history of slavery, there was a lot of rape of slaves and things like that. But in terms of this story, I wasn't sure if it was supposed to be obvious or not. But it certainly took me for a loop. The reason why I was believing that she thought that the island could be hers after her master passed away, because it very much read to me like she was I don't know if this is the proper term, but like the head slave almost. So when she kept trying to get the master to sign off on the papers, I just kept thinking, I was like, oh, she thinks that maybe if the Civil War ends and the good guys win and slavery is eradicated, that since she's like the head of the household, essentially, then she can be the owner of the estate. And that's where my mind went anyway. I immediately did not go to the idea that the slave owner would. And that's just one other level of fucked up that this book had me in, because I'm sure in real life it did happen in some cases, but for a man to father a child and then keep that child as his slave, just critique, besides one of the brothers not being really relevant in the story that I had, was at the very end when everything is wrapped up and she's had her confrontation with Charlotte, and Charlotte is in kind of that dream state between dreaming and awake. I was still surprised that Layla decided to take care of her. I mean, it was kind of like a theme of the book, like family sticks together, and like love binds them all. And although you had your struggles, you still took care of family. While I knew that that was a theme throughout the book, it still surprised me because of everything Charlotte had done. I mean, to rattle off a list, Charlotte tried to kill Layla through dreams. The two aunts, Therese and Jane, rattled off a list of situations that they had been witness to where Charlotte was manipulating people's dreams, and then those people ended up dead, like the following morning. And then also she started messing with Will and his infant son, so much that I was like, why? Like, I feel like in real life this exists for me, but also just like there's got to be a line at some point. Like, I don't care if this person is your cousin or your aunt or whoever. They've done all of this and you still want to take care of them. I did feel like that was a fitting end for Charlotte because she had messed with everybody's dreams so much that she ended up in the catatonic state, the dreamlike state where her mind is always in a dream, and it's a happy dream, but her mind is in a dream and her body is just kind of comatose. Considering everything that she had done, I thought it was a fitting end for that character. But again, I was just still surprised that Layla was like, yeah, I will take care of her. She's family. And I'm like, after everything she's done, attempted to murder you and your brother, and then attempted to murder, I think it was Aunt Jane, and then had committed a bunch of these murders. They just couldn't prove it because it was through dreams. That I wish that had happened by the end. I'm forgetting his name, but the boy that she had kind of started to like, it was Aunt Therese's best friend's grandson. They should have been dating by the end. It was implied that they might start dating, that there was some interest there, but I wish they had been dating by the end because I really enjoyed their relationship. And hey, the grandmother clocked it. They went to visit her. They went to visit her at one point, and the grandmother starts telling Layla all about his ex-girlfriend and how she wasn't a good fit and he deserved better. So in my mind, they're dating. It's the extra epilogue in my head, I guess. I think on Goodreads, I gave it a 5 out of 5, either a 4 out of 5 or a 5 out of 5, but it was definitely a 5 out of 5. It was this amazing story about this strong woman, and it was about family ties and family history and this incredible, fantastical ability that she had, and she found the answers through family. So I loved these strong storylines about family and how she actually found family that was there for her in the end, and then the family that had been there the whole time but hadn't really been supportive became supportive, and it was really nice. I definitely feel like this book is a reread in the future. Personally, if I was Layla, I don't think at the end of the book that she was living out at Scotia Island full time, but that would be my move. I would be like, I'm gonna have a remote job, which she already had. I'm gonna get a remote job and I'm gonna live out on the island and just live out my days on this beautiful island that's been in my family for centuries. And I I love this book so much. I've read a book by Rita Woods. If you guys have any suggestions of books by her I should pick up next, I definitely will. I definitely do want to pick up more books by her. This was just the first one that I ever did. So if she has written similar ones or anything like that, please recommend them to me. I want to pick them up. I'll probably go through my library, or at least try to go through my library for that. And I hope you guys enjoyed the book. Maybe leave down below what your favorite parts were, your critiques of the book. Did you listen to it or did you read the physical copy? I had started the physical copy, but once I found the audiobook, I was like, oh, I love this narration and there's sound effects and oh my God. So let me know what you thought about the book and I will talk to you guys next time.